you who's reputed to have the obsession. Mr. Chamberlain never ceases to say it. And I have to say, I was rather counting on it.
Why won't you understand? I cannot help you. Look around you, the most abject day in our history. And what do you see? Nothing. I have been abandoned. There's no mud-spattered messengers hammering at the door with dispatches. No telephone jangling with calls from ministers seeking my advice.
But would you, if they did, answer their calls? Join them, even?
But of course, it would be my duty.
You'd bail him out, that wretched man?
My duty would be to Britannia. I'm a patriot, first of all.
Please, not patriotism. That final resting place of all excuses.
You insult your country.
No, don't you see? It is you who does that by giving up. It's not patriotism that drives you, Mr. Churchill. It seems to me it's more like thwarted ambition wrapped up in the need to prove your father wrong, to pay him back.
He was a great man, a statesman.
He died of syphilis. At least my father died screwing my mother. And all these years later, you're still listening to the voice of a man who failed at everything he touched, failed as a politician, as a husband, most of all, as a father. You live in this house of ghosts, pretending to serve a family who seem to have deserted you, making flowery speeches about Britannia and her sceptred isles, yet all the while wanting nothing more than for someone to bring you back in from the cold. Isn't that it? And all of it? You talk of divided loyalties, yet your only ambition is... Well, no, your only God is ambition. Well, I made a mistake in coming here. You're not the man I thought you were, the man you once were. Better leave you sulking in the shadows, Mr. Churchill, waiting for your bloody phone to ring.
Get yourself a wife, a family, some measure of responsibility, and then maybe you will come to understand such things.
And that will never happen. I will never have a family, not in this world. And least of all would I lean on it as some glib excuse to avoid doing what I know must be done. I do what I do because I believe in it, because I have to. This England, my country. Oh, I'll leave the speechifying to you, but at least I'd fight for her, which is why when they start swarming over the hills, I'll be the first against that wall. But better that than choking on humbug and excuses.
Sometimes I think it would be a kindness to be shot.
Except it's not just going to be you who's going to get shot, is it? Oh, drown in self-pity if you must, but don't take the entire world with you. I'm almost 40 years younger than you, and I have a right to those years, just as you've had. I came here to ask for your help. I came expecting a roaring lion, and all I found is a moth-eaten old hearthrug.
Damn your hide!
I pity you. You want the name of Churchill to rise above all others, but when they remember you, it'll be just like your father. It'll stand for nothing but failure. At least he had an excuse when he fell ill and lost his mind. His friends took pity on him, led him by the hand out of the House of Commons. They won't be so fussy with you. They'll just shut the door behind you and forget you were ever there.
Get out.
Gladly. All those fine words. They meant nothing.
Churchill, the world is falling apart, and you have the temerity to interrogate me about my account? Yes, of course it will be paid at the end of the month. This month, last month, next month, what bloody difference does it make? Young man, wait. Come back. Stay.
Stay? What on earth for? I might as well bugger off to Bognor. I'd rather drown in the sea than in your excuses.
Please try to understand.
Well, I'm a little busy and the tide's coming in.
I have never known such misery. I'm alone, abandoned. Black dogs torment me, and all that I have ever fought for. Everything I hold dear has just been surrendered to that spittle-breathed Austrian corporal.
Then you'd better go and finish your wall.
Why so bitter?
Oh, away with your self-pity. Do you think you're the only man to be less than he should have been, the only son to have failed his father? My father was an officer in His Majesty's Navy, and I wanted nothing more than to tread in his footsteps, live up to the glittering remembrance my mother had of him. So the first chance I got, I enrolled in the Naval College in Dartmouth.
Which does you credit.
Eyes! My bloody eyes! They said I couldn't see well enough. I could see that the Nazis are building the biggest battle fleet afloat of any ocean in this country and any world. I could see that as well as any countryman. I could see that better than that bloody fool Chamberlain, but they threw me out, the one chance I had of living with my father's memory.
But you hold a position of responsibility at the BBC. Surely he would have approved of that.
I was a child he rarely saw. And I became the kind of man he could never stomach.
Ah. You mentioned Monsieur Perfufa.
Fifer.
A friend of yours. I recall now some gossips, idle tittle-tattle around the Travellers' Club. He's...
That's right. He's a Nancy boy. A left-hander.
Heard a strange story about how he likes to play table tennis, your Monsieur Perfufa. Ping-pong. Apparently, he uses a naked youth as a net.
Yes, well, the French have their subtleties.
And he is a friend of yours.
Yes, he's a friend.
I think I begin to understand.
You understand nothing. If a man plays bloody ping-pong with his left hand or uses his prick as a paddle, what the hell difference does that make anymore? Will none of us make old bones, not once Hitler arrives? We'll all be damned for the simple sin of being British, each and every one of us. It's not our fault being Englishmen or Scots or hairy-ass Welshmen or even wayward Irish for that matter, but what a wonderful, joyous accident that has been up until now. Your father would have understood. And now I see he was right. You're not up to it, are you? Not fit for purpose.
Well, if anybody
oh, I
is
know,
not
I'm not fit for purpose either. The Navy decided that when I was barely 13, but there's one difference between you and me, Mr. Churchill. One that should make you hang your head in shame. I'll die in disgrace, of course, up against a wall or in some stinking gutter somewhere, condemned for being what I am. But your dishonor will be the greater for failing to live up to what you are, Winston bloody Churchill. I don't want to die. But if I have to die, let it be for something that I believe in. For the love, not of myself, but of my country. This beautiful corner with all her faults and for all that one day she could be.
Now, you're the one who seems to have made a speech.
You dare sit in judgment on me?
I don't.
I disgust you.
No, I am not entirely an innocent in such matters. After all, I went to Harrow. And these are dark days when the normal rules of modesty no longer seem to apply. Jews, gypsies first, and then the rest of us, after the mentally retarded and the morally dubious. That's how they're going to start, the first step along the road. Then all of us, close behind in serried ranks, just as you say, for the fault of being Britons.
Condemned for what we were all born.
I refuse to judge a man for his private diversions.
Of course, how else could you still worship your father? But he's dead, and his reputation rots, and there's nothing you can do about it unless one day he's remembered for one thing above all else, that he was the father of a great man, one of the greatest that this country has ever bred.
You seem to have extraordinary faith in me.
A faith you once shared.
Young man, if I could harness your passion...
There are millions of us who hate or will come to hate Hitler and everything he stands for, who want nothing more than to simply know that we're not alone, who would follow you, not blindly, but because they see the same thing as you see from your window here.
Fight them, you said, the Huns?
In France.
In the air, and on the seas and oceans, on the beaches, on the landing grounds, if it comes to that, in the fields and in the streets and in the hills.
No surrender, Mr. Churchill.
Never, never surrender. We make a strange confection, the two of us, like oil and vinegar.
You needed nothing more than a bloody good shaking.
Which you have provided. I have enjoyed our conversation. Permit me to give you a token. A copy of my latest book. My speeches. I know they're only words, but...
Something to live up to.
As you say, as you insist. Winston